Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome to the next video. I'm super excited. We're actually getting into the swing now. Just so we're all on the same page, terminology varies from coach to coach. So, in all of these videos, there's several terms that I use because that's what's used by professional players and professional coaches and college players. Just make sure you keep terminology the same when you're talking to your coach or your parents or your teammates, whatever have you. Okay, so this first move, we got our load, we have our gather, we have our negative move. Those are just three separate terms to explain the same type of movement. Okay, but let's get right into it. So we talked about stance. Now we're getting into the actual physical movements itself. So very first thing, every single pitch we're prepared to swing. So we're going to have a load and we're going to have a gather and this negative move on every single pitch. Okay, so let's start off with Baez here. So very first thing, right? So he's got his hands right around his back shoulder. They move back slightly towards the catcher, right? As his body starts to move forward. Okay? So all hitters, their head's going to move forward and their head's going to move down slightly. Okay? So just like we alluded to in the first video, they're all going to have this attack posture. So the front shoulder is going to be slightly lower than the back shoulder. And it doesn't matter where they start with their hands or their elbows. The elbow is going to load up. So it's going to get up to around that shoulder height. Now, Baez goes a little bit higher than most hitters, but the same principle applies. The elbow goes up. Top hand slightly in front of bottom hand. Knob of the bat towards the catcher, so he's got an angle towards the catcher. Knees inside of feet. Hips inside of knees. And his head is slightly in front of his center mass. So center mass is just your belly button. So he loads up, hands work back, elbow works up. Shoulders are slightly downhill. It puts him in a tug-of-war position. Now, guys, if you've ever played tug-of-war, you have, a few people on one side of the rope, a few people on the other side of the rope. If you start to pull on that rope, your head is going to end up in front of your belly button. The reason being is that you're going to put yourself in a stronger position with your head in front of your belly button, so you're activating your core and your lower half more efficiently. So you're not putting your head behind your belly button. That would put you in a bad posture and it would affect everything else. So we got our head in front of our belly button, in front of our center mass, and we're moving towards the pitcher. So his momentum is starting to move towards the pitcher. Okay, so he's working downhill. You guys can see that downhill action with his shoulders, and he's working towards the pitcher. Okay, now let's move forward. Same exact thing is going on with all of these hitters. Christian Yelich, completely different hitter, right? Well, he's got the same exact things going on. Elbow loads up, top hand slightly in front of bottom hand, knob of the bat towards the catcher. His angle of his bat isn't as high as Baez, right? But the same principle applies. Knob of the bat towards the catcher, elbow is up. Head slightly in front of belly button, knees inside of feet, hips inside of knees. Okay? Same things going on. We just move right on down the line. Trout is unbelievable. He starts with his hands a little bit higher, right? But the same principles apply. Same fundamentals apply. So he loads his hands up. He works down and back behind his body. He's about shoulder height with his hands. Lead shoulder slightly below back shoulder. Elbows up. Knob of the bat or angle the bat towards the catcher, head out in front of his belly button, knees inside of feet, hips inside of knees. Guys, all these guys do it a little bit differently, but they're all doing the same exact movement. Same thing here with JD Martinez. Okay? A little different stance, a little different setup. Same thing. Hands work down and back behind his body, about shoulder height. He's a little more vertical with his bat than other players, but same principle. Angle the bat towards the catcher. Elbow is up, top hand slightly in front of bottom hand. Back shoulder higher than lead shoulder. Knees inside of feet. Hips inside of knees. Head slightly out in front of his belly button. And they're all moving towards that pitcher, right? Slightly. So they're all creating momentum and direction towards the pitcher. Now, if I show you guys a different angle here, Acuna, I just want to emphasize posture here, okay? So same thing. A little different stance, a little different setup. Hands work back towards that catcher. Angle of the bat is up. One thing I want to show from this angle is that his head is over his belly button, over his center mass. So you see this angle where his rear end is sticking out and his head is over his belly button and his legs are pushed back, his hips are pushed back. So he's just putting himself in an athletic position, a strong position. He's not standing straight up and down. Okay? So same principles apply. One more. So Ohtani, for those of you that are Ohtani fans, same thing going on. He starts with a good posture, but he's just going to maintain that same posture as he goes throughout his swing. So same thing, his hands move back, hands load back, head over his belly button, knees inside of feet, hips inside of knees, head slightly in front of his belly button, elbows up, hands are up. Guys, those are the same things that you're going to see in all successful swings. So those fundamentals are universal. They're something that all these great hitters are going to have in common. So some do it a little bit differently than others, but the same principles are always, always, always going to apply. So that's our load, that's our gather, that's our negative move. Let's keep our terminology consistent with whoever we're working with. And I'll see you guys on the next video.